So I'm a climate adaptation scientist, so I study the ways in which society is adapting to climate change. Really broadly speaking, I study the way that coastal communities are impacted by sea level rise. I'm really focused on the way that climate risks are interacting with housing and housing needs especially. A technical report that came out in 2022 that was a multi-agency effort stated that, well, for the next 30 years, we anticipate that sea levels will continue to rise. Major floods will occur 5 times as more often in 2050 than they do today. And so I'm more or less just trying to get a sort of baseline assessment of how everyone from local to federal actors to urban planners to mortgage lenders to real estate developers are really thinking about integrating climate risks into their plans for housing. People are on the move, and people will be on the move increasingly with climate in mind. Right now, we're living in a moment where housing is undersupplied. It's really unaffordable for so many people, whether they're buying or renting. And if you're trying to solve this sort of like climate and society problem, you really just have to keep thinking about all the different ways in which climate is interacting with society. I will give you the example of someone that I interviewed in Miami-Dade who stuck with me for a really long time. She was someone who experienced flooding on the regular because of just rainfall. And she said that, you just feel really trapped here because even if you want to move, there are no other affordable options. So you're kind of trapped physically by floodwater, but then also trapped sort of economically because there aren't other options and other areas for you to move to. People who have more resources will inevitably be able to move to safer areas, whereas people who have fewer resources end up really trapped in these situations. Just in thinking about sea level rise, we're talking about questions that are deeply political. Stakeholders of all sorts and sizes have different, opinions on what a community should look like in the future. We shouldn't be thinking through these challenges in a reactive mode that almost ensures that we will have unequal societal outcomes. So we have to do this proactively. I think even beyond just me as a scientist, I think me as a person is more how I'd like to think about this. I'm planning to live on this planet for a few more decades, and so this is really a problem that we have to live with. And this is the challenge of this time. And unfortunately, it will just keep getting passed down if we don't act now.